This two-part Star Wars special is brought to you by the Culvey House channel, youtube.com/culveyhouse, for all your Skyrim and Fallout needs. Enjoy.
This is Christopher Walken, here to warn you that this contains some explicitly foul language, and if you don't like that, then I'll put my foot in your throat.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
The visuals are very, well done. And, the gameplay is super fun. And, because those three things are there, it's exceptionally good.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like just gouging my soul out.
Yeah. Jurassic Park's a little more like DDR.
If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off? Where did that come from? You have to make a lot of shit up to make good art.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it. Welcome back to AFA, After Artists. We're here in the studio once again. My name is David, lead artist, creative, so person in charge. Really strong start from me today. Really nailed that one. Joined by my co-host Ben, special
Ben.
Guest co-host. Probably a regular
Friend,
at this point.
video games.
Basically, you're here because, it's a Saturday morning.
Yep.
We're joined by a special guest today, so guest, who are you?
I'm Kristan. I am studying an advanced diploma of applied fashion design and technology at Mount Gravatt TAFE, and I'm a member of a theatre company.
Excellent. That was a really strong. That was really strong. You really lent into that one. I like it. All right. So talk us through a bit about kind of where that. I'm not really sure where to start, but I mean, from what I'm aware, you do cosplay. You're a cosplayer. You've cosplayed. You're part of the cosplay scene. Is there a verbiage for a cosplay?
Cosplayer.
He cosplayed on a Saturday.
Yes.
So I mean, that's kind of why you're here, as well as the fact that you've designed some clothes for us in the past, and we're going to basically try and use your talents again as we progress forward. Because, I mean, I just can't. Clothes are a mystery. So it's good to have someone that knows what they're doing.
One half of this table is dressed really well. The other half woke up about an hour ago.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's like I barely remember what colors are. So talk us through a bit about kind of what it means to be in cosplay, or how you started that, or where I don't know where you want to start with that, but kind of there's usually a natural starting point for something like that. Was there a point where you were you went from I cosplayed once to now I do this regularly, or kind of how does that happen?
I'm a bit of a Star Wars fanatic, and a friend from the theatre company I work with was in this group, which I'd never heard of.
501st.
The 501st. And sort of their, in essence, sister organisation, the Rebel Legion.
Yeah.
And basically we dress up in costume. It all has to be approved. There's certain regulations.
Okay.
And then we go and do charity events.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might visit hospitals. Of course, the big ones are going to Supernova, Comic-Con, and we do a weekend in Dreamworld. Okay. For May the 4th. Usually around that time.
Yeah, surprisingly,
Yes, surprisingly.
Yeah. Excellent. And so, you mentioned I'm interested there. You mentioned the regulations. So is that as far as your outfits and stuff?
Yep. It's all the costumes have to be approved over the internet. So you figure, okay, I'm going to make, I don't know, Anakin Skywalker from Episode 2.
Yeah.
You look at their standards. You make the costume. You can buy all the boots and lightsabers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But most of it you have to make yourself or get a friend to make it. You then take a whole heap of photos to make sure, and good quality photos. You send them off. The panel will review it, and if they say, yep, that's good, they will send you an email, and you are then a formal or canon.
That's really cool.
Approved.
That's pretty, yeah.
So the regulations, I guess, are around the accuracy of what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So you can't be Luke Skywalker from the second Star Wars film,
can't be
wearing a death metal shirt underneath.
You can't be
or something.
sexy clone trooper.
No, you can't be sexy clone.
No, everything has to be as if you just walked off the set of Star Wars.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, we the 501st were at a school fair that I went to last week. And it's really weird just walking around, and then it's just why is there a Stormtrooper in front of me?
Yeah.
It's really quite shocking, because they're
bizarre.
so accurate. And they just pop out so much. It was insane.
The 501st is a little bit more strict than the Rebel Legion, because 501st is all your
Yeah.
bad guys and so Stormtroopers, Darth Vader, all that.
So you're obviously a little more high maintenance costumes.
Sort of. And Rebel Legion is all your good guys. So
Yeah.
your Jedi,
Okay.
your dignitaries.
They're a little bit more
senators.
ragtag in the first place.
Yeah, and
Do you
it is a
fight each
small
other? Do you have like battles and stuff?
In
That's-
Dreamworld, there is a
be
Sith
so
vs
cool.
Jedi fight that is all choreographed for about 3 months beforehand.
Oh, wow.
And so who participates in that?
Um,
That's so cool.
anyone who has a sort of Jedi or Sith costume.
Oh, man, we're getting in on that.
Lead Vader.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
We haven't gotten a Vader in to
Oh, really?
fight yet. I
It
think
would be
purely
tough
because of the
though.
restrictions of
Yeah.
the armor
True.
Yeah.
and the mask and all that stuff.
Seeing would be tough.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they do it quite quickly.
Hmm.
It is.
So it's truly
It's just
Probably
so funny.
choreographed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
properly choreographed.
That's brilliant.
yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
And there are a lot of injuries that
It's like people do lose eyes. Let's be honest.
well, scrapes and bruises and
So I guess that would kind of resemble, like the
Medieval.
I was going to say like the medieval kind of like where you recreate,
Yeah.
and you have people that will go and joust or they'll go and do sword fighting in the full armor. So it's a similar. Is it a similar kind of culture, or is it? Like, what's it? Is everyone? I mean, obviously, you're really on board with it because it's
Yeah.
it's a really complex. You go. I'm going to go to this particular event as I'm particularly part of this group, and you commit to making that thing.
Yeah.
So what kind of a time frame would you be looking at for making like a standard? Well, not standard. You know what I mean? Like a costume. Like, what's the turnaround for that?
Well, it depends. Obviously, depends on what costume you're going.
Mm.
A stormtrooper or anything that has
Has armor.
like rigid armor,
Yeah.
I don't go near because I have no idea how to make it.
Yeah,
Fair
those are,
enough.
If
they're
it's
insane.
a soft costume like a Jedi or
Yeah.
something that Padme would wear,
Yeah.
I can sort of work around that.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got about how many have I made now? 3 generic, what we call generic Jedi, where they're not face characters; they just follow a generic standard.
No, you get murdered at the end of the third film.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, just,
I mean, well, we don't.
yeah,
Really
Jedi 13. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's right. You got a generic number and you don't really have a name. You just got a blue lightsaber, so they know you're a good one.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, anything but red is.
Typically. Well, I mean, there's an argument. to be made.
Grievous doesn't have a single red lightsaber.
Well, he's
No, but
he's
he
not a
stole
Sith.
all
He's
of
also
them.
not a Sith.
Yeah, true.
so- Well, he's technically a
He's a-
Sith general.
he's
He's
a
not
bad
actually.
guy.
He doesn't use the. He doesn't have the Force, does he?
No,
No.
he's a robot.
Yeah. So he's not.
He's just been trained in lightsaber combat.
So he's not a Sith.
Yeah.
He's just a sword
No,
fighter.
yeah, basically.
It's not really trained, it's sort of just like uploaded.
Yeah, because he's a. I
He's
think
a
he has a
robot.
brain. I don't know if he has a hard drive in his head.
Yes.
Like,
Part cyborg.
He's got
part-
Apple Flash storage in there.
yeah, that's right. He's got
Super quick times.
He's got a lightning connector if you ever need to charge your phone. Yeah, no. So that's. I mean, to me, that's really interesting. It's sort of. So you would have a bevy of things that work as cloths for different things, and like I guess you would build up a database in your head of like, okay, this is
Yeah.
how I can do this. This is how I can do that. So. Talk us through like how the first time that you decide to do this, what's that like, and does it feel uncomfortable initially, or is it just kind of like everyone's really like you lean into it because everyone else is really kind of into it, or like how does that happen? Because I feel like it would be
So, like, getting
Transition.
into something like Rebel
what's the
Legion?
transition for entering that group and becoming
Well, like I said, it was thanks to my friend who was already in both of them.
You kind of have to like prove yourself.
So you had like a
Almost
mole
as
on
a
the inside.
designer.
You had like a
Well, we're always trying to recruit people.
Yeah.
Particularly for Rebel Legion, we want to get more people than the.
Yeah.
fucking
oh,
rest.
so it's a
gonna
competition.
take a while.
Yeah, all right, yeah,
A little bit.
yeah. That's fair.
So basically, she gave me the ideas, gave me the websites. So I just looked up, okay, what costume could I make as my first one?
Yeah.
Generic Jedi is pretty much the only one that
Top choice.
I was going to go with.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to have to worry about exact pieces of characters.
Yeah, because
So-
then there's accuracy.
Yeah, there's accuracy, right down to what type of boots you wear.
Yeah, people also know what specific characters are going to look like from specific
Yeah.
scenes, and so you're like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that just yet.
Fair. Entry level.
Yeah, entry level.
Yeah, level. I like it.
So I've made about 3 generics so far. It's not really necessary, but I sort of created a whole backstory or sort of idea behind each one.
So they're characters.
Yeah, I make them up as a character in my head.
It would help with the costume design because then you get
It
to
does,
decide
yeah.
why they're wearing particular clothes and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I understand that from a
Yeah. And you can pull from the movies, from the animated series, from the Old Republic video games.
Are the comic books considered canon in your world?
Um,
Because they've had some because they were initially canon and then JJ turned around. not to get too deep into the Star Wars thing, but JJ was basically like, yeah, all of these comics don't count because we have to do the next films.
About the books,
the novels, the novelizations. I don't know.
the like extended universe.
I feel like there's probably a wiki page somewhere that's just all of the. But so like, so the main canon that you guys would accept would be
Yeah,
like
the main canon is movies, animated stuff,
Yeah.
and Old Republic video games.
Okay.
So very
That's-
yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of got
So
the
only the Old Republic video games, none of the other 50 bajillion.
Oh,
well because the Force
think it
Unleashed
depends.
isn't canon,
yeah.
so it's just like an
Then
alternate.
there's stuff like
you know.
Republic Commando, which is sort of sub. Like you could argue it's canon because it's such a small sector of
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
universe.
but then the problem is one time they're going to use the same voice actor. Like it's just they always just like
Yeah.
oh we have to make it not canon.
Yeah.
So I guess like so you have these generic characters, right? So
Yeah.
you've got a character that you kind of imagine and you're starting to put together this costume.
Yeah.
How do you go from I have this idea to I'm now buying
Fabrics.
and I'm sewing things
Yep.
and I'm making. I suppose it's you said you were studying fashion.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got that background already. You
Yeah.
know how to use a needle. Like
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah. I was sewing long before I started my
Yeah.
advanced diploma. Basically, for me, it goes from an idea. So, okay, what do I sort of want this Jedi to look like? To I'll do a sketch up on paper, fill it in with a bit of color, just so I sort of know. Okay, do I want to go with more of a brown look? Do I want to go green, or do I want to use some other color?
Yeah.
And then so that will turn into a finished sketch. Okay, that's the Jedi that I'm going to try and do.
Yeah.
I'll then try and, if I need to re-pattern make anything, because I've got standard patterns for whatever,
Okay.
I'll then alter them, figure out, okay, go to the fabric store, and then basically look around what fabrics do I want to use.
Okay.
Usually I don't go for anything too thin or too light, because it doesn't really hang well, it looks tacky.
Well,
It looks,
a lot of the Jedi robes are quite heavy. It's
They-
like a monk
yeah.
garb almost. It's supposed to be quite heavy.
Yeah, that's exactly
So-
it.
Look at me. Fucking yeah. I was like, I know Star Wars. Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah. It is quite heavy cloth that they're wearing.
And it has to hang right,
Oh yeah.
look good when it's worn,
The minute that it looks too thin, it just doesn't look.
yeah.
It doesn't
And they won't pass you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You got to get it board certified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I'll go get fabric and then just start sewing it up.
And then once you have, so like, do you end up with one piece, or do you have multiple pieces, or how does it typically? How does it?
How does mine all go together?
Yeah. So like, are you wearing 18 different things, or are they all stitched into one piece?
It's close to 18 different things.
So it's just a balance. You gotta put it on one by one.
Usually it's like pants, a under tunic, which I usually do with full sleeves, then an over tunic, which is sleeveless. What happens then? Then tabards, which are those things that run down your front.
Like when you graduate.
Kind of like.
Oh, okay. It's like a Jedi scarf.
Yeah.
We just insulted.
If you think of Anakin in episode 2 and 3, he's a leather.
Yeah.
It's those
his
leather
like
sections.
they're almost like front shoulder pads.
Yeah, they're like
yeah.
shoulder pads go down to the waist that then extend down to the knees.
Yeah, they
basically.
really just cut his figure in a very nice triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a obi or a big fabric belt. Then a regular Jedi belt. All of these have to be at certain sizes as well.
Yeah, because
so
they're
the
gonna fit
obi,
the regulation.
yeah, so the obi has to be about 3 times the size, 3 times the thickness of the regular belt. And the belt is about, I think, 2 to 3 inches. And then there's a thin belt that has to run on the inside of
Jesus.
that, or on top of it, which is usually about an inch or half an inch to an inch.
Yeah.
Has to have a buckle that is not earthbound, so it can just be a generic buckle, so it's not. It doesn't say Australia on it or something.
Yeah, it's not got your local football team's logo on it.
yeah.
You know, like it's it's just metal.
Yeah. And there's a few things else that have to go on the belt, boots, and then anything else that I want to add to it.
So then you've got maybe your robe on top or
Might
whatever.
have, have a robe, which also has to be.
Well, I mean, that's-
Everything has to be
Yeah.
approved.
Jeez.
The robe, you might have some sort of makeup on, whether you want to do like scarring or whatever. If you want to wear a wig, whatever.
You're the green person from planet XYZ.
Yeah.
And you're put all your
Yeah,
whatever it is.
basically.
Yeah. Okay. That's really. I'm immediately fixated on the belt. Do Jedi's have specific belts that they wear? Like now I'm questioning everything. Like Is that like your sword fighting belt specifically? Do they have one for like off days that doesn't have the
No,
lightsaber?
it's all the same belt,
Yeah.
or pretty much the same belt. Yeah, it's basically a wide belt, a thinner belt on top, which has the buckle in it.
Mm-hmm.
There are then 4 sets of 2 like studs that hold that inner belt in place.
So can you just don't have to walk around like this? You can't move. You know, like you're.
It's a little hard to bend down.
Yeah, it sounds really uncomfortable.
You drop something, it's kind of interesting to try and pick it back up.
Oh, yeah. You do the thing like you have to lean over to one side and use like 3 people to try and get it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a stick.
Is it the kind of thing where you go into a store and because everyone needs the same materials, there's like one big spool of a material that has a little tag on it. It's just like, if you're looking for this.
Yeah, it's
Jedi
like
robes. This is the
Jedi
robes.
spool.
Yeah.
That's actually where they get them. That's where they got them in the films, like in the Star Wars universe. They just went to their local fabric shop, and Yoda's like, "Yeah, I need 3-4 gallon rolls of Jedi robes.
Yeah.
We've got some new recruits." You know.
Yeah, so...
That sounds really uncomfortable. I mean, really cool, but just the idea of the belt. I was immediately like, yeah,
Belt on
that's...
a belt.
You know, like, people always
With
talk
an
about...
obi underneath it.
Yeah, like it's a belt and a belt, and it's
Unfortunately,
got studs.
the obi can be fabric. You can make it out of leather or pleather, but usually we just go fabric.
It's probably cheaper anyway.
Yeah.
Well, particularly because you said it was quite thick. That's a lot of...
Well, not thick as in widthways, as in height.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, quite thick as in that's a lot of leather to be buying.
Yeah.
If you need something that big, you know.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you do have quite a few layers going around your middle, so it does. You do sort of hold yourself better.
Well, I mean, I guess that would. I mean, if you think about the idea of the Jedi, that would make sense that
Good
their
posture for
outfits would do
Jedis.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sword fighting tough that you can't bend over, but like otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really. I mean.
I still don't know how they get in those starfighters. They sit in it and they look
Oh,
so
and you're
comfortable.
like-
How on earth are you doing that?
Yeah, it's like, are you just not wearing pants? Like
The
they
whole
cut.
backside of their costumes is like cut off.
Yeah. It's like they're not
It's
wearing
just the
pants.
upper half.
It's
You
just,
don't need to see the
it's just the
bottom.
tunic. It's like up here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be really interesting to find out actually how that goes and how you go from like, because there are scenes where you know, and whether or not they're CGI. I mean, I know they're not in.
The original trilogy.
Yeah, but in the
Examples,
latter
yeah.
ones, there are scenes where like someone will do something in full costume,
Mm.
and you're like, "There's no way a human could do that in those clothes ever."
Mm.
I had a specific scene in mind where I think it's in the first of the ladder
episode
trilogy, episode 1 that we don't like to talk about. There's a scene where they're all getting it's toward the end and everyone's getting in their starfighters to go up to the Death Star-esque space station and fight up there. And all of these dudes in their full fight costumes with like their leather straps and their belts and their pistols and stuff, and these tunics that go down to like below their knees, run. First of all, they're running, and I'm like, no way. So they run, they climb up their ladders to their
guys in like the purple outfits.
yeah, and they run up their ladders to their starships, and then they leap into the cockpit. They don't just get in; they leap in.
Yeah.
And every time I see that, I'm like, wow, that would have really because like they're wearing leather pants as well.
And they
like
pass through the fourth dimension to like
yeah,
orient themselves
and then they
properly.
they jump and they go. They just know, like I can't. Yeah, it must be bizarre. But that always bothered me. And then some ladder issues with like just how uncomfortable some of the extras look in their costumes.
Yeah.
You could tell that they're sitting there like, don't
Yeah.
sweat, don't sweat, don't sweat, don't, because they're like the guards, particularly in the Attack of the Clones. That's what the second one's called, right?
Yeah.
Where all the people in the bug outfits, the bug guards on the bug planet. This is where I'm really
They're
reaching.
CGI.
Yeah, so they're just not even real.
Yeah.
Star Wars, man. Because like I mean,
It's method acting.
yeah, it's method. Yeah, they're like I'm one with the bug.
Yeah.
But they do some weird, like they put some weird people in some weird costumes for Star Wars, like it's pretty strange. But it's so. Have you done any kind of stuff outside of the Star Wars, or is that just kind of where it's ended up at the moment?
That's sort of the main goal at the moment. I am sort of planning just a non-Star Wars costume just to wander around supernovas and Comic Cons.
Get your foot wet, kind of thing. Like get your feet in the
Sort of.
pool. Yeah.
And just so I'm not wandering around in Jedi robes, although the costume I've got planned is almost as bad. A bit more actually no, it's a bit more free. It's a bit more freeing than a Jedi robe.
So you're a sexy stormtrooper. Right.
Not quite, no.
No. Okay, sorry. I just assumed. So, are you gonna spoil what? Or are you keeping it a secret? Is it on under wraps? Is it on lockdown? Or are we?
Are we gonna
be
tell
privy?
about
Are we gonna?
20 people who listen?
Yeah, I was gonna say all the 25.
However many people listen to this podcast.
Yeah, not a ton at the moment. But,
I'm trying to. I've been planning it for months, and I still haven't gotten it ready yet. I'm trying to do a sort of young Avatar Roku from Avatar: The Last Airbender, just once he's sort of mastered all the elements.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the classic red robes, but doesn't have the white hair yet.
He's the firebending Avatar.
Yes.
That came before Aang.
Yes.
I didn't watch that TV show.
Oof, that was a good guess. I was like, it's that, or he was the first Avatar who was the young chap. I fucking watch TV. Shut up. No, in the latest Avatar series, I can't think of the one with the
Legend of Korra.
Yeah, with the female lead. They talk about the first Avatar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who was my other choice? That was my other guess.
Avatar.
That was
Wang.
Wang.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
something like that.
So it's like we're like, it's not changing from Chinese. Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of cool. I mean, is that? I'm just trying to think if I've ever seen anyone in Avatar cosplay, but I've seen a few photos of different
There's a
collections.
lot of Avatar cosplay, let's be honest. Ever since Legend of Korra.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of when it kind of became a bit more
serious and like adult oriented.
Well, then it got really dark, really quickly.
Yeah, so then more people cosplay it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
because
what happens.
it's like well, now I can't. Now it's acceptable.
It's the cycle of all cartoon TV shows.
That's true.
That are like targeted for kids.
Oh yeah.
They start off all cheery and happy, and then they
realize that they realize their entire audience is adults. And they're like, yeah, it's just basically people past 20.
Yeah.
like this great show that we made for TV, like for kids, is actually being watched by grown adults.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the TV show you're making, because I mean, like Dan Harmon, he does Rick and Morty.
Oh, that started off as an adult show.
They immediately were like, yeah, we're making this for adults.
Yeah,
they were like, don't show this to your children.
Yeah,
children. Like,
I watched that. I thought it was like a kids show.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, oh, it's on Adult Swim. It's probably not.
Also, like the main character
is an alcoholic.
Barfs half the time.
Yeah, look, the first episode I was just like, I hope this isn't a recurring thing. It's kind of annoying.
And the other lead character is retarded. That's the premise of the show. Like he's a mad scientist who's an alcoholic. Like it doesn't seem like a kid's show. No, from that pitch, immediately I was like, it's definitely maybe not for children.
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, there's an argument to be made that the latest season, I don't know how
I've only seen the first one.
No, I was going to say of Pokemon. I don't know how up to date you are with Pokemon, but they've just done.
Mate, I haven't watched Pokemon since I was like 14.
I do for research.
Goes for me as well.
Yeah, I do it for a lot of research because it's really interesting to see the arcs they play and sort of the stuff that I can satirize with that.
Well, I know is that it's just
the novels.
It's just they just keep changing the female lead.
Well, so that basically their current game plan. They've tried to explain away the fact that Ash hasn't aged a few times as well. So
he has aged, hasn't he?
No.
Or is that just one image I saw?
No.
Of him
He hasn't aged. They just keep changing his clothes and they keep changing his voice actor with the hopes that like no one will notice that he's different. So like what they did this time. And so typically they have a cut between seasons, and this is kind of just because I'm going to ask you a question about this in a minute because I'm interested to see your opinion on this.
Okay.
From like a costume design perspective, I find it very distressing because I can't pick the particular costume that Ash wears and then satirize it because he keeps fucking changing his clothes. Right? So like I'm trying to make fun of this guy and he's just changing his clothes all the time. So what they do between seasons is they'll have he'll go from one region to another as another game comes out or whatever the. So one of them was like. I think one of the most recent changes was they went from black and white to the X and Y region, but they didn't.
So they went to France.
Yeah, but what they were real sneaky about it. So they were like,
really?
So no, because like they
weren't like hon baguette in the first episode.
They just have like an Eiffel Tower on that wall.
Oh god!
Like, but they always have to keep producing these excuses for Ash to go somewhere new and leave his Pokemon behind because he's been doing it for like 12 years. So he's got this team of like he's got like a Garchomp and a Charizard and like some of the most impressive Pokemon that you've ever seen.
He's like, alright, see ya.
And he's like, yeah, I'll just leave them all on the PC, I guess. Like, good, have fun with them, Oak. Like, I'll fucking catch you later. And then he goes with Pikachu and starts again. And they have to keep finding reasons for him to not take his extremely strong plethora of Pokemon with him to destroy these leagues. And then he's always like, oh, man, starting with these 4 level 20s, it's so hard to be a Pokemon master. You know? So like, and then that's like where the drama comes from, is the fact that he's no longer got this bevy.
He's no longer literally a god.
He's not got, he's not carrying his thermonuclear weapons around with
It's like every Metroid game ever, though.
basically. So they, or the start of every Assassin's Creed, where they're like, you lost and broke all your weapons.
Yeah.
You know, like, so they really struggle with that, because Nintendo aren't necessarily, because Nintendo and Game Freak currently co-write that series. They really struggle to get that right every season. So like every time they do a cut, it's always like you've got an awkward few episodes where they really try and lean into it. And so they'll have Ash change his clothes because he's trying to fit the culture of that place. And they always have him do something stupid and make a cultural faux pas initially to let you know that there's someone new. So like he'll say something.
So the cultural faux pas in the first episode ever is him just falling off a bike.
Yeah, because apparently,
oh gosh,
apparently he doesn't.
Look at this kid falling off a bike.
This dude in Japan falling off a bike. Yeah. So like and part of that is that they always change the costumes of the main characters, right? Mm-hmm. So they've taken Brock temporarily out of the series because he's too much of a he's too much of a strong character, because like he's the sensible adult.
So outspoken.
So they can't have any fun ever, basically, with the show, because Brock has to be like, you can't do that, you stupid kids, you know. So they've got a whole new cast now. So they've got Ash, and then he had 4 companions for a while. Like he was really highballing it. One of them was a little girl. Like the female interest was like 8.
Oh, is that the XY series?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's in the game
like,
as well.
She's like a little black girl or whatever.
Okay, she's not black in the game.
Is she not? Oh, okay.
They whitewash the games like crazy.
What's
there's like, in the games, there's like this weird character where it's just like, she's really into you, but you can tell she's like the younger character. And then there's the older female lead.
Yeah. Oh,
and assuming you play as a male character, I don't know what it's like if you play a female character. It's probably the same.
I feel like I would.
But it's like, it's very weird.
No, it's uncomfortable,
just, yeah.
So that was like the premise of the show this time, is he's got 4 traveling companions, and 2 of them are girls. And they changed Ash's costume, and this is kind of where I'm really interested with the costume design. So he's got 3 colors that he rocks. Mm-hmm. He's got like blue, white, and green.
Green?
Yeah, so like he's got green accents in a lot of his clothes.
Oh, okay.
They've moved it into yellow for some reason. It's become yellow, so he's now like blue.
I thought it was blue, white, and red.
Well, there's no more red. It's now black, white, and blue and yellow. It's like they just
the blue's always there. It's like
the blue's always there, but like the white and the blue. But they've got a lot of black and a lot of like yellow accents that used to be green.
So it's like super edgy now.
Yeah, so he's like really new. He's like, it might as well be a fucking leather jacket, you know.
He's from Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
Basically, yeah, he's actually a villain from an off series of Yu-Gi-Oh.
GX.
No, from like 5Ds or something. Like, or Zexal, you know. Like one of the latter Yu-Gi-Ohs that was a terrible idea. But part of that is that they keep changing his costume in really weird ways. But they managed to make it still look like Ash, because he looks like he's got the hair.
Yep.
And he wears a cap.
He wears a cap now.
He
always wore a cap,
but
yeah.
Hasn't it
Because he would
changed
like
as well?
fucking spin it behind his head.
Well, the hat changed. So the premise of the hat is when initially it changed. They were going to just have him wear the hat forever. That was going to be like the hat that he was going to wear. But it turns out that there were some copyright issues, because what Nintendo had done when they initially had produced the cartoon is that one of the designers, like one of the cartoonists, had literally seen the hat in a shop and been like, oh, my character could wear that hat. So he
and then the shop was like, you can't wear our hat.
No, so he threw it into... And about like a year and a half, like as Pokemon started to become, as the cartoon took off, the people that made this hat realized, they were like,
that's how
the most popular character in Japan at the moment is wearing a fucking hat.
Isn't that just free advertising? They should just be like, look, it's that hat.
So the rest of us would have been like, oh man, like maybe just put our name on the hat next time. Like you can still use the hat, but maybe plug our product.
No.
But what instead happened is Nintendo were like, no, we're not using your product, because they didn't realize, obviously, because it was just this cartoonist who'd done it. So they had this. It was a big kerfuffle, and so Ash changed his hat. But he changed the entire costume with the hopes of no one noticing that they were just changing the hat. So that's when they started.
They changed the whole costume.
Like, they were like, "Oh, he doesn't wear new clothes." That was midway through Johto when he changes his jacket.
They should have literally just had a scene where he just goes up to a shop and he sees a cool hat. He's like, "Oh," and then he just swaps hats and walks off.
Well, no, because the problem,
make it really obvious.
The problem is that the hat formed so many plot points for the series, because it was like his hat, and like characters would take it.
It would run so many cosplays as well.
Yeah, and characters would take his hat, and like he would lose the hat, and it would be a thing, and he'd be upset. So they couldn't just take the hat off.
The hat was like a character.
It was basically a crutch for their storytelling.
Yeah.
So they eventually managed to get this done with, and they had this idea that they were going to change it every time. But so they continued to do that every series, just for what seems like the sake of consistency.
Is he wearing a beret in the X and Y?
Oh, probably. Like he's changed. He's no longer a baseball cap. Like
jeez.
It's probably a beret, or he's wearing his undershirt is now a striped French shirt. He's dressed like he's wearing mime gloves or whatever.
No, he's a mime.
But yeah, so the idea is he changes his clothes culturally to each area. but now no one knows how to fucking dress up as Ash. So, like, because it's like, there's no jacket. Because he basically wears a tracksuit jacket.
Don't most people just do red from the games? Because he's consistently just the kid who wears red with the Ash hat as well.
Yeah, well, his hat's slightly different now because they had to change that as well. His is a white brim. It's a grey brim. It's faded.
Grey.
It's a grey brim and it's a red hat that's faded as well. And it's got a semicircle that looks like half a Pokeball. That's his current hat. He's actually a really interesting character. He doesn't age.
Right.
Because he's a descendant.
Talk.
Well, yeah, but he's a descendant. This is where like my Pokemon lore from doing dcm.works.
Here we go.
But it's really weird because he doesn't age because he's a descendant of Az, who is this giant from X and Y.
Oh
really
yeah, that guy. Yeah.
So like Pokemon went from like we have monsters to like we also have immortals.
And then literally, and then an Omega series, spoiler alert, literally like alternate universes.
Well, no, but X and Y isn't the same alternate universe as Omega. Anything with a Mega is in a new universe.
Anything with Mega Evolutions is an alternate universe.
Yeah, so it's X and Y, which is where Az comes from. So the point with the timeline split is where Az either fires his Super Mega War Cannon or he doesn't.
Yeah.
That's where the timeline split, right? So Pokemon went from like
it's literally Legend of Zelda now.
Yeah, so they went from like we're a kids fucking game to really leaning heavily into this alternate timelines thing. So Red has his new hat and he's immortal. They were like, oh yeah, we bought him a new costume. Also, he can live forever.
And is that why he's like literally just standing inside a cave?
Yeah. So the premise
of Silver.
So the premise, or the theory that a lot of people have is that. When Giovanni's experiments. This is like we're gonna lean into this for a minute.
Pokemon
We'll come back to my question about the clothes, but like this, I promise we'll get back. Yeah. Well, it's kind of what we do, right?
It's not Shrek.
Huh?
At least it's not Shrek.
Shrek. We had like half an hour where I just ranted about how Shrek. Problems there with Shrek.
About the politics behind Shrek.
Let's not go into it. Fucking Lord Farquaad, and he has a kingdom. Whatever. Let's not go
into
it. He's not a king. How can you have a... Anyway, he's... fucking Shrek. But, so the idea is that, you know how in the first Pokemon film, they create Mewtwo? Giovanni's lab creates Mewtwo.
Yeah.
The theory is that they were able to create from Mewtwo, they were able to extract some kind of a serum or some kind of an item from Mewtwo that would allow them to make people immortal. And that was why Giovanni was pursuing it, not because he wanted Mewtwo's ultimate power, because he wanted to live forever. Yeah, which is a
typical villainous
for a
thing
super
to do.
villain. That's a pretty good goal. Like,
live forever and then conquer the world.
He read the manual from back, both covers. So part of that is he's got the hype. The theory is that he produced this, and that's why Sabrina. But this also gives people superpowers. This serum. It's why Sabrina is psychic.
Oh,
so this is like people's way of explaining away
it's
their way of explaining away all of the canonical errors that appear in all of the games and shows because Nintendo has no consistency. so the theory is that Sabrina got the powers. So you get the powers of the Pokemon that you're closest to, which is really convenient because Sabrina, she's got these ghost and psychic Pokemon, and Red obviously has a Charizard. So the idea is that he has super strength and he can breathe fire, I guess. I don't know. Like, he can't get wet, that's why he wears a leather jacket, I guess. So he's immortal, and he stays in the cave because the theory is that you also have the temperament of the Pokemon. So he would murder people if he was near them because Charizard do that in the wild. We've seen that in the Johto series where they go to this Charcific Valley, and basically the Charizard, all of them try and kill Ash because they're monsters. So it gets really deep when you try and read into how they try and cover up their fuck ups. Because there's so much content, and they're like, oh yeah, some of them have superpowers. Yeah. Sort of. And then there's ninjas that can teleport that are never explained. There's all these things in Pokemon. So part of that is that they have to keep backtracking and backpedaling, but when they do that, they try and read they cover it up. They mask it with new clothes.
And all the puzzle rooms in the game are actually just fourth dimensional objects.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
They are.
Yeah.
So you go through a door and you enter through the door you came through, you're like, what the fuck?
You're like someone's watching too much BBC or something.
Yeah.
They've just really whiffed that one. So part of that is that they try and they cover stuff with costumes and stuff, and they're like, oh, he got a new hat, and he bought a new pair of glasses. Ignoring obviously that his voice actor changed, he's wearing stuff like that. So they try and do that a lot, and so a big part of that is the costumes are always dynamic. So with say you've got another, so a good example of a series that has static costumes is Yu-Gi-Oh.
Static costumes.
So
Have you
Joey.
seen the dual discs? So like,
No. I meant not.
it's part of the. It's basically part of the.
No, I meant that they don't change. I meant they don't change.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like Joey wears a green leather jacket
Yeah.
for some reason, and a white t-shirt
He's
and
from
like
Boston.
and like tight pants. And like, it's from Boston.
Well, they all wear
I can't do
tight
the
pants.
accent because I'm thinking about it, but
They all wear tight pants.
yeah, well, it's because that's
part of the
the
series.
school uniform. No. They're all in school uniform.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So they have really tight leather pants.
Yeah.
But they have consistent uniforms. So if you wanted to cosplay as that, it'd be really easy because you just pick up a pair of leather pants. You get Yugi's weird cape jacket thing.
And then you do is wear.
You dye your hair. Yeah, you dye your hair, and then you.
I don't think you'd want to dye your hair. That
Become really metrosexual, and you rock up with chains on your pants. Or
Chains,
yeah. So at some point he did get chains on his pants.
Yeah,
They just kept them.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like, oh yeah, it was a what they. Just
I'm pretty sure like the whole series where they had those like fucking like fluffy Joker wristbands, where they had to get the stars when they were during that tournament, where they had to get stars, and they all had those gloves.
Do you mean
like,
Duelist Kingdom?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And they had like those puffy. Like,
Yeah.
puffy cuffs. Those were weird.
Where they put the star chips in it. Yeah.
That was odd.
It was a weird time. No one had done
It's an
anything like that
odd
before.
series.
They were like, how do we make a card game matter? Ooh, I know.
Stars.
Yeah, star
Ooh,
chips.
Stars.
Well, Japan were like, we can't make like what else? What other chips are there? Like, pretty random
So
ideas.
odd.
Let's be honest. So they always have consistent stuff. So say someone like this is what I always wanted to know is like, so you have someone that is like, I'm gonna cosplay as blah. So you pick a character. So we'll say I'm trying to think of something that isn't ridiculously difficult. But a lot of costumes are tough. But let's say you pick a character. Like I'm gonna dress up as like this particular character from this particular show.
Yep.
But there's like 18 different outfits he wears. So you
Yeah.
become like I am Mace Windu from Scene 3 in Act 4, or like like you've got. Like, I mean, you probably wouldn't because Samuel L. is very distinctive, but like you've got, you pick a specific character that you're cosplaying from a specific part of a specific show, and it's got specific detailing. Do people walk around and they're like, oh, I know which scene you're from? And like, are there people that are familiar enough with the clothing and the cosplay stuff that they're gonna look at you and be like, oh, you're obviously you're pre-Wookiee planet Yoda, or like your post General Grievous fight Obi-Wan because you've got the makeup with the scratch and then your robe is torn slightly and you've got a muddy stain on your left boot and you're like does that happen or is it just everyone's like, oh,
Do
where are you
people
from?
make a stormtrooper outfit? I think it's where there's like a dent on his helmet from when he fucking hits his head in that one scene that everyone knows.
Yeah,
Is
so
it like
'cause
that
like,
one specific?
I feel like you would like I would want to be
like a slight scuff.
well, no, you want to be a B-list stormtrooper that just gets generically killed, and they're like, oh, where are you from? You're like, I'm extra number 312 from scene 42, whatever.
That one.
Yeah, it's like, or you're like, yeah, I'm pre-Salak, XY. Like it's people like have identifies that stuff. So like, do people know? Like when they walk around, do they look at costumes and they're like, I see your Boba Fett, but before they clone planet. Like, does that happen? Wait, Boba or shit? I don't
know.
Django is.
You mean the silver one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack.
Boba Fett is
Losing that.
gonna edit over that one. Yeah. So is that like is there a lot of knowledge that goes with that, or do people just kind of know that you're a costume of a thing? Like what's like how does it come like because I mean obviously I was like you're
build up to a question.
no like what like so you're in costume and they're in costume like what does the dialogue look like if they're like oh you're for like do you just like oh that's a cool costume or do you talk about it with other people that are in costume or like how does it
Specifically from like Rebel Legion.
Well, I mean, yeah, specifically from Rebel Legion, or just people you might meet that are also cosplaying, or just like when people come up to you and they're, you're clearly both cosplaying.
Yeah.
Do you immediately like launch into, oh, that's really cool how you did this particular part of your costume, or do you like what is? Because I don't. Is there a way that happens?
Is it more of when you make the costume? Is it like an effort to focus on a certain part of when the costume's shown, or just generally the costume?
Yeah, so does
do you try to go like the costume at this point of the series, or just like the costume in general?
Well, because I haven't done what we call a face character yet.
do you look
I'm
like
actually working on one.
Do you have the face? Who do you look like? Who do you resemble in Star Wars?
I have been told that I look like Obi-Wan.
I could see that.
I could say that.
Mainly half because of the beard.
Yeah, you're like, honestly, it's the face.
It's because of the beard and because my costume is like the first one they made is sort of a white, beigey, brown sort of colours.
So
people who
basically,
don't know Star Wars very well, they just go, "Oh, that's Obi-Wan."
He's like, he's got a goatee. It's probably that's no, fair enough.
So that's really the only. If they don't know Star Wars very well, they just know it sort of in general.
Yeah.
You'll get mistaken for people.
Oh, okay. So they'll see you and be like, "Oh, you're."
It's like, are you Obi-Wan? No.
You're like, no, I'm. You're like, no, I'm extra at number 5.
Yeah, basically.
You're like, I'm just a Jedi man. Still my thing.
We actually have one guy in the whole Stormtrooper thing. You've got, I can't remember what they're actually called, but they're, instead of being all white, they're all black, and I think they have gold accents. Someone called him Darth Vader. He gets very annoyed when that happens. It's like,
there's like some pilot troopers that look with like the black helmets.
Yeah,
they look very Darth
Vader. It's very
Yeah,
it's the pilot troopers.
Yeah,
they usually get.
Yeah, they get
mistaken.
People who don't know.
Oh wow, that's gonna.
Just kick the microphone when I just.
Oh Jesus!
Fuck you, audio. Fuck. I'm gonna. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so I just don't like. I'm trying to like. I'm in my head. I'm trying to imagine that you've dressed up and you go to a convention, and you're at the convention. And do you get to a point of the day where you're like, could you just not take photos of me? Like, do you get to a point, or are you ever just like, well, this is what I'm here for? Like, and I guess particularly because you're doing it for charity, I guess it's more, you're more like, oh, we're doing it for good, we're helping while we're doing it. But do you ever just crack the shits and you're like, you know what? You don't get a photo with a Jedi? Or is that like really un-Jedi-like,
That's very un-Jedi-like.
Yeah.
And you just be like, you're not going to take a photo.
Yeah, you will not take a photo of me. Well, the whole idea, when we do go to Comic-Cons and Supernovas, we have our stands.
Yeah. Notice that at the Fed, you have a stand,
which, that's what it's for. Come get a photo with us, and it's basically just a gold coin donation.
Oh, okay.
If you want to be in the photo, it's the gold coin donation. If you just want to take a photo, fine.
Hey, like, whatever. We're roaming around, we're not going to stop you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sort of go ready to stand there for a few hours to be taken.
So you mentally prepare yourself.
You mentally prepare yourself.
It'd probably be easier as a Stormtrooper because you can just be under the mask and
you just
oh my god, Jesus! And they're like, oh, he's so polite and patient. Just stand there like, oh, these idiots, Probably really
rolling your eyes.
Yeah, which you probably wouldn't be doing because people are excited to see you. But so I guess one of the big questions that I've been I was laying back from it because I get really preoccupied with thinking about the inconsistencies in Pokemon that make my job really fucking hard writing the novels. Okay, so I mean, obviously, from a technical aspect, it's quite complicated to do cosplay.
Yep.
So, is there, in your opinion and what you've seen, what art is there in cosplay? Is it an art? Is there art in cosplay? Is cosplay art? Is it part of art? Are there art bits in cosplay? Like, what kind of
cosplay art?
Like, what is it? Like cosplay art. What's art? What's a cosplay? Who are we? Like talk us through if you've got a strong. You don't have to have a strong opinion about it, but obviously with some fashion design and stuff like that, there's art to it. But cosplay specifically is a very it's very niche is the wrong word, but it's very specific.
It's almost like the fanfic of like the fashion world.
Yeah, that's it.
I suppose the only real issue that I have is people that half-ass things.
Okay.
If you're going to cosplay, do it well.
Yeah.
So you hate like half the people that go to most conventions?
Pretty much. It's either you're in costume or you're not.
Yeah.
Don't rock up in half a costume
or a t-shirt.
Or that I don't mind the t-shirt because that's a
different thing.
That's different because you're still just in your regular
clothes.
Yeah.
But people who like make these costumes. And you look at them, and you can see they're very tacky.
Yeah. Oh, they really whiffed it. They were like, I gave up. Like,
yeah, or it's just something cheap that they bought off eBay.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. On the flip side, you then have the sort of real avid cosplayers who go into the competitions and look amazing.
Yeah.
Which I applaud them because they put in so much effort.
Mm.
But yeah,
just like.
If you're going to a convention and you half-ass a costume, I don't like you.
So
basically,
so either lean into it and really put some effort into it, or just maybe don't wear a costume this time.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Mm.
Like
you don't seal paint if they have body paint.
Yeah.
And it rubs off and everything.
Rubs
Yeah.
off, yeah. That
Starts
kind of
cracking
thing.
and yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the I mean, there are some really...
Homestuck?
Yeah.
Homestuck cosplay.
I think something that bothers me is people...
Quite notorious for being horrendous.
Yeah, it's people
Yeah.
that will be like, oh, you know, I watched XYZ show and I wore the same clothes as the main character. And you're like, it's not a costume, mate.
It's not really
You've
a
just
costume.
put on some clothes and you just happen to be dressed like Chris Pratt from Jurassic World. Doesn't mean you're not cosplaying, alright? You know, like,
Yeah,
like
you're not Chris Pratt.
yeah, well, I mean, you might be. He's fairly Jesus though, so I don't know that he'd be cosplaying.
I'd say he's fairly generic, but you know.
But he's also fairly, he's really into Jesus.
What?
Yeah, they did this big article the other day, and like apparently he's super Jesus.
Okay.
Like I didn't know that.
I mean, fair enough.
I mean, just a random fact.
Whatever
I
he's
just thought
into.
yeah, no, I
Whatever
just
floats
thought
his
you want to
boat.
know, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, that's interesting. Someone said it to me, and they were like, he's into Jesus, and I was like, okay.
Like, is he religious
Yeah,
or just
I was,
into Jesus?
I was like, great. You mean like he's method acting? Like, what are you telling? And they're like, no, he's really into Jesus. And I was kind of like, I don't. What do you want me to do with this information? like, how am I supposed to react?
And your point being,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, well, he's an actor. Like I don't know. What do you want from me? But so you know, these people that make these really, so people that you know they make a full. I think some of the most impressive ones I always think are the full Spartan outfits from Halo or something like that, because the detailing and the accuracy that some people go into.
Yeah.
I'd argue a lot of the Blizzard game, like BlizzCon
Yeah.
cosplay is always it's always horrendous or really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because
Like,
it's
really
really hard
ornate,
to do.
yeah.
Yeah, it's and particularly like Blizzard is notorious for the shoulders.
shoulders,
Oh,
or
I just-
wings, or whatever.
Yeah. What have you? So people that really lean into that stuff.
Yeah.
There's obviously some kind of. We talked last time. We talked a bit about our qualifications for what makes something art. And so when we talked about it last time, we framed it through. We were looking specifically at video games because sort of from Ben's perspective and his background.
Wait.
So yeah, he's like, oh, I fucking don't remember that. It was
Yeah.
at least a week ago.
Yeah.
So for you and looking at sort of cosplay and how that fits into what you do, is there a part of it that you would say, oh, okay, that's definitely that's art? Because I mean, a lot of it's artistic, but when you talk about art specifically, it's like, okay, it's unique, it has a lasting impact, and it has to be selectively consumed. So someone goes. So what I mean by that is like, if I look at your costume and I go, that's a generic Jedi.
Yep.
But if I look at it and I go, oh great, you're this Jedi from this particular planet from this scene.
Yep.
I'm selectively consuming your art in a more specific way, right? So that's I'm going out of my way to understand what it is that you've done with it, and I haven't just walked past you when you're in costume.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken the time out to recognize where you're from, and I'm doing that as a process. So, is there a line where it's no longer art? If it's like, obviously, if it's sloppy, it's probably not. But are there parts of cosplay that's art, or is it just like the whole thing? If you really fucking nail it, that's art. Like, is there an artistic element to certain parts of it? Because I'm never sure with cosplay because I don't know that much about cosplay. Like I just know what I
It
see.
shows up in one of those cosplay videos that you see on
Yeah,
YouTube.
like a compilation.
art.
And so you see people that are in like, I mean, there was one the other week where someone had gone through the detailing of this person's Spartan armor, and they were a Spartan Mark IV, and they'd gone through and they'd actually had specific detailing and specific contours, and battle damage of that particular armor that. This person went through and took photos of it and was like, okay, you can see this is from this battle, so they were in this particular fight,
It's from
and they
this
went
type
through and
of
they were able
firearm.
to trace through this person's character that they invented through all these different battles to the point where they were currently, and they were like, yeah, well, they were at the Fall of Harvest and then Reach, and they did all this stuff and they traced it all the way through, and you could see all the detailing on the armor that was manifest that story. So to me, I was like, that's really cool, and that to me is like that's art, that's cosplay. So that person has gone. Like, because it tells a story and it's interesting and you have to selectively consume it. So, like, is that the point where it becomes art? Or are they just really good? You know, like for you personally, I'm not saying you necessarily, you might just be like, yeah, well, if it's a good cosplay, it's art.
Yeah.
That's often a good enough definition if it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But, like, is there, for you, like, how does that... Now, like, because I can see you, like, trying to tick it over.
Yeah, I'm trying
like,
to think how to
what's-
answer this question.
Yeah, like what's... You're obviously churning some thought over. And so I guess I'm interested to see where you come at it from your perspective, because you're actually the one that you get to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. You kind of understand how it operates. So is there a... what's... From an insider's perspective, how does that play out in your head, you know? It's a tough
That's
question.
a really hard question.
Yeah, I'm really just hardballing you with that one.
Yeah.
I guess I can ask you another question that might help ease you into it. So what makes a good cosplay? Like, what's the difference between a cosplay that's kind of okay and a cosplay that you stop and go, wow, that's amazing?
Probably a variety of factors. One, how accurate is it to whatever they're trying to cosplay as?
Yep.
Use of materials and fabrics.
Okay, so what do you mean?
So, what's a good example? I'll use my Star Wars example because it's the best thing I know.
Yeah.
A Jedi robe, the usual brown ones that they wear over the top of their tunics.
Yeah.
If someone's made that out of a really like thin fabric, that's bad.
Doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. If it's if it has more weight, more like a wool, that's better.
Okay. So the choice of material.
Choice of material and whatever you use to make that costume what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So accuracy, choice of material.
Yeah.
And was there a third one? Or
they're the two main ones.
Okay.
That if I see a costume that I know, I will pretty much pull it apart in my head.
Okay. So
I look at them and I'll go, okay, yes, no, I wouldn't have used that.
Okay.
And
so you build up, so you learn from that as well.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll look at a costume. I'll think, okay, how would I have made that? Would I have used the same choices? Would I have used the same fabrics? Would I have made it a slightly different way?
See, to me, that speaks to you're looking at it through the lens of I want to apply this to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the way that you just describe what you do is basically how visual artists would read a graphic novel, or how I would read a literary text or something. Like it's the same process where you look at it and you try and understand how they've done it and you compare it to how you might do it. And so to me that speaks to a level of what you're doing as being artistic, and you've got that mindset.
Yeah.
So I think definitely your approach to it is very much of this is an art that I'm playing.
Yeah.
So we got accuracy, choice of cloth and material,
fabrications,
and then so is there a point is there like a third one that's like goes from being it's okay to like now it's really impressive?
I suppose amount of effort and detail you put into it, which I suppose does tie into the accuracy. But you can be accurate and not have much detail.
So like the complexity of the costume.
Yeah, the complexity.
Yeah, so the difference between like Stormtrooper and a Jedi.
Yeah. Probably the funniest example I've seen is probably a really simple character is Finn from Adventure Time.
Yeah.
It's just you just get the hat, blue t-shirt, backpack, whatever. But there's this one guy who cosplays as a really specific character of Finn when Finn's really old and like super buff. So there's this one guy who's like basically looks like a freaking Norse god. Like the beard and everything, and he dresses up in like this just like blue muscle shirt, like tiny backpack. It looks really funny, and like the hat and everything. And you look at it compared to other like people who are cosplaying as Finn, and you're like, yeah, it's arguably less accurate, but it's just so more ridiculous. Yeah, and it still fits because the character.
Yeah,
like,
he looked at that at one point. He looked like that. At one point.
So you're like that's. Even though it's a simple character, it's sort of like a more interesting version of it. So you're like, that's kind of funny and awesome. So
well, it seems
for me,
it's
that's like
purpose as well.
For me, that's like that would be a better cosplay than someone just going as Finn, because anyone can go as Finn.
Yeah,
literally anyone, because Finn is.
He's just a boy in a hat.
No, he's also a girl at some point as well. That's the thing.
Yeah,
so literally anyone can.
It's a different
cosplay as.
But yeah, that's Fiona. Jeez.
Yeah, no, it's Fiona, but it's
just saying,
basically the same person.
Well, yeah, it's Finn.
You know what I mean?
But,
it's the same. It's literally the
same.
It's the same outfit. Just different proportions.
Yeah. It's different.
Like instead of shorts, it's like booty shorts. Instead of socks, it's like thigh highs.
Oh, that's right. And she wears the same shoes though.
Oh, okay, cool. That's great.
I'm just saying. But no, so that's like, I mean, that makes sense to me. That's a more interesting. That's more complexity because he's gone out of his way. I guess to get ripped. Like I don't know where the complexity. Where the complexity comes from. I guess he's used the tool set that he has more effectively than say someone who's just come as Finn.
Well, he does some pretty funny contrast with the tiny backpack. And
so he's really thought out what he's doing. He's really.
It's not just like taking the character and scaled it up. I guess.
Yeah. Or
that I don't mind that whole idea.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of taking a well-known character, but you're putting your own spin onto it.
Yeah. And it is canonically correct in for 5 seconds in the series.
So it's actually from part of that show.
Yeah.
So that I mean that's a lot of that's complexity, but in an interesting way.
Yeah.
And so then if you look at like if you're dressed as your Stormtrooper, that's a different kind of complexity because that's time and hours.
But I wouldn't say it's the same as like someone going like sexy Stormtrooper.
What?
like taking something and putting your own spin on it.
Oh no!
If someone like sexy Stormtrooper, you're like, no, that's just.
Well, no, because then you drop the accuracy.
That's just kind of weird. Yeah.
Well, because then you're dropping the accuracy, and then you're like, it has to be fit for that particular. Like it's got to be fit for purpose. Like it's got to be fit for Star Wars. Like you have to be able to see it on the set of
Plus,
Star Wars.
Star Wars is so, like all Star Wars cosplay is so like accuracy focused.
Yeah. So, and that's because there's a wealth of pictures and just like there's so much information available. There's very little excuse to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff.
I wouldn't say there's so much information. I'd just say there's a big fan base and a lot of dedication.
Well, yeah, but
there's actually not much information at all. It's just pictures from the movie.
Well, yeah, no, but as a result,
but it's
people,
just scanning it.
Well, that's what I mean. People, because of the number of people, they've been able to produce the. You know what I mean? Like
it's like quantity of research over quality of research.
Exactly. They've got big data, not good data.
Yeah.
So which is kind of interesting to me because, it might be that everyone decides that Mace's boots are these boots.
Yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson one day tweets, he's like,
no. Just make them yourself, it'll look better.
No, he's like, those aren't the boots that I wore, these are the boots that I wore.
It's like lots of replica things.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity there.
Get, like, most people would be like, no, I'm just going to build it myself because it'd be more accurate.
Well, yeah, because a lot of replica stuff, they just whiff it because they just want it to look roughly the same, You can't buying a good Jedi robe is probably impossible. Like, you would have to spend a lot of money to get a really accurate one, I imagine, unless you want to make it yourself.
Yeah.
In the same vein, it's like, I mean, there was a big argument. You would be probably privy to this because you're involved in the community. But the big kerfuffle about the Force Awakens trailer and the lightsaber, and people just basically not having an understanding of how lightsaber crystals worked.
Yeah.
And people losing their shit because they were like, why can't have two parallel beams? Because they didn't understand how it worked.
Yeah.
And then obviously Stephen Colbert did his amazing takedown where he explained how it worked. In only the way that Stephen Colbert could.
It just looks. Why have a crossbar? It's pointless.
No, it's really not because the lightsaber runs the whole. So that particular crossbeam runs the whole width.
Oh, does it?
So it's
so
not
it
just.
Actually does
it's not just where the beam. It
meant
actually does protect. You're not going to chop it off.
I was going to say because it looks like it just would be chopped off.
No, because there's a splitting. Yeah. Okay. So it runs the whole width. So it's actually really intelligent.
So it isn't. Yeah.
So it's an additional guard for your hand because as the lightsabers evolve,
like
so
regular light.
Yeah.
Long swords.
Well, because like sword fighting evolves. So the tool has to evolve to cope with that.
Yeah.
So it's like the difference between a rapier and then like a sword with a short sword that has the hilt. They're for different purposes. And people freaked out. People lost their minds. And it took a few very informed people to explain that. Yeah. The difficulty that they were having.
Explain that 2 second clip from a trailer.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god,
Admittedly, I did watch the trailer. I was like,
no, like but you know that JJ was sitting there in his checkered shirt. He was like, "We're putting that in the trailer."
He's giggling.
Yeah, he was like, "We're doing that one."
He's like, "We're not putting that in the movie. That's going in the trailer."
Yeah. So that was a big kerfuffle, and that's because they had people that had the ability to look at what happened in that. So in this case, the lightsaber. There was a big discussion as well about a lot of the clothing that you could see in some of the trailers, and a lot of the behind the scenes shots. But they've done a few for like charity, and there's some behind the scenes, some on the set filming and stuff. A lot of people have been like, oh, these clothes aren't right. Like, the clothes they're wearing on set, then they're not right. Like, they're not right for these reasons. And I've only been vaguely aware of it because I follow a few people on Twitter who have been quite vocal about it. As people tend to be on Twitter. So, like, say you rock up in your Jedi garb, in your sick outfit, or you've been doing this, so the crew that you roll with in your Jedi robes, they've been doing it for a length of time.
Yep.
Say the new films come out, and you find out through some information in the new films that the way that you've been doing XYZ has been wrong the whole time.
Yep.
Like, do you change or do you just stick?
Do you change or do you stay to? Because how does that?
Do you stick to the 6 movies or do you go with the one new one?
Yeah, because I feel like people would resist.
It'd be a weird transition.
Yeah. Because there's a potential for that to happen with like the other canonical sources where they're like, oh, well, a particular one is like the lightsaber crystals and not explained well in the main series.
No.
But if you delve into the novelizations and the comic books and a lot of the other shows, you learn all about how they work and how they interact and stuff. And the minute that we learn how they worked, people were like, oh, we can adjust the way that we've been viewing them.
Yeah.
Equally, if they were like, okay, the boots that Jedi have been wearing are actually not accurate. They have to be this particular kind of boot. It just looked like it in these, you know. So there's a reframing of that. Would the shit hit the fan? Like, how would you see that going? If a core part of your costume changed.
Yeah.
If they're actually not wearing underwear.
Yeah, it's their freeball. They're actually
you just have to follow the trend.
They're actually wearing kilts. You just can't see it.
Yeah.
They're freeballing it. Like, that'd be tough, wouldn't it? You know.
I don't see our standards changing much because we do go from like reference pictures from the movies.
Mm.
And the first six, the current
Yeah, really.
as if there's going to be 20 more.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know. It's,
you never know. They might take it.
They might just go for it.
I don't, because like those movies are done. They're not going to change.
No.
Unless they redo them.
They've
Whoever they do,
They do change quite a bit.
They've done it a few times, you know.
yeah, but down to like costume detail and all that stuff.
They're not reshooting scenes.
No. And so they're done and dusted.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say they're pretty much done.
Let's say.
So you can have costumes from those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When the new movies come out, they'll be added to the list.
Yeah. So I suppose if the detail did change, it would then become post original. So like it would become a different, in the same way that it would
Like
be
a different costume. Almost.
Yeah, it'd become a different Jedi costume.
Yeah.
If they had new Jedis that wore different clothing or something.
Yeah.
Which honestly they probably will because
They
it's a different
probably
time.
will. Yeah.
Like one of the main features of the whole generic Jedi, how they class it, is it's a prequel Jedi. So from episode 1 to 3, it fits within those movies.
Yeah.
You could put that costume anywhere in those movies and it would fit. You don't put it in 4 to 6.
Yeah, because the council's fallen and it's
The
no
council's
longer...
fallen and it's no longer around.
Although
I suppose 1 to 3 is a lot more like, in terms of the outfits, a lot more like leather, sort of.
well, it was a different
outfits.
time. It was a different time in that.
Yeah.
But then
Like
4 through
structure.
6 feels like a lot more like robes.
Well, that's because I think as well it's got a lot more of a spaghetti western feel.
Well, it is a B movie.
Yeah, so it's like it feels much more like a space opera, whereas the first ones feel like Star Wars films.
Action films.
I don't want to mean that the original 3 don't feel like Star Wars films, but the prequels definitely feel like they were trying to make a Star Wars film, whereas the other ones were just like this weird space opera Wild West thing.
Yeah.
That was just like became Star Wars.
Probably one example I can think of is Ultron versus Neutron. And those
That's a
outfits.
great example.
So
Yeah.
Ultron was just like, it's Ultron. Like Ultron
Well, it was
is
a
still
different
a
time.
thing. Yeah. But like the outfits are very just like, they're sort of just like onesies with lines on them.
really cool modern onesies.
Yeah.
I would buy
But then
one.
the new one, like Neutron is like super sleek.
Yeah.
Like basically motorcycle.
Which is great because they put Olivia Wilde in one.
Yeah.
So everyone's happy, right?
So,
So,
but like Tron guy isn't changing his outfit.
No.
He's still Tron guy.
Tron guy who made that costume 20 years ago still
Yeah.
wearing that shit. Like,
Yeah,
he's
can't
still... yeah, well, that's exactly right. So then it becomes like you've got a different set of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there, I mean, like I would love to see, not a reinvention of the Jedi robe, but obviously, from what we know about things that apparently are no longer canon after Luke defeats Vader, obviously,
Yeah.
because they've ruled them out as canon, so they can read. Because it'd be really hard with some of the shit they've done in the other stories to try and work it in. But what we've seen afterwards is that the Jedi Council kind of sort of starts to reform, but it starts to reform in less of a restrictive monk kind of way and more of a progressive way. Because obviously Luke's in charge, Leia gets taught how to use the Force, and then they have, the her and Han have their Han babies. And then,
Han babies.
They all wear leather tunics and waistcoats and shit. But the costumes change as well. So you see that Luke starts to reinvent the Jedi robe because in, correct me if I'm wrong, in Return of the Jedi he wears a black. I don't know if it's leather, but he wears a black garb.
Yeah, I don't think it's leather. I think it's more like just a suiting material.
Yeah, so it's quite sleek. It doesn't look so. Whereas in the prequels, the Jedi robes are very heavy. They're wool. Yeah. They would be itchy to wear. Yeah, it kind of follows that monk sort of philosophy.
There's a lot of layers.
Yeah,
it's all more like the whole flowing long aspect.
Yeah,
and because they then died out, Luke sort of has to go, okay, what do I wear?
He's got to reinterpret it and try to reinvent
no
it.
capes.
Yeah, and obviously, so
no
he ditches the full cloaks, but there are points where, and they did a really good job of this. even though it's not canon, and the second game was awful. In the Force Unleashed game, I thought I should have a preface. I thought I should have a preface because the second one was terrible. It was like a 4-hour-long game. It was fucking atrocious. But
it's just a long movie, essentially.
Well, yeah, it's not even a good.
$60.
It's not even a good movie. They gave him 2 lightsabers, and they were like, "That's gameplay innovation, right?" But
instead of doing this, you can like.
Yeah, no, well, admittedly, like, a lot of the gameplay was really cool and fun, but the story was literally, like, you could blink and miss it, and then the game was over. Yeah, it was ridiculous. They just basically, they made the first Force Unleashed that was okay, and then they were like, let's just cash in. But yeah, so, I don't even know what point I was going to make. Oh, the costumes in there. You get to see, they try and reinvent, so they have Star-Lord? No, Star-Lord, Star-Killer. Star-Lord is Peter Quill, that's Guardians.
of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Do you think they were trying to get Chris Pratt in, they were trying to put him in another space film recently, weren't they? I don't know if it was Star Wars, but something like that. Star Trek or something. Like, they wanted to put him in a space film.
He'd fit in Star Trek.
And Marvel were like, no, you already...
you can't
like,
take
you
out Star-Lord.
Yeah. So they have costumes in that where Starkiller reinvents his own version of the Jedi robe. So he starts to add bits and he has like a shoulder. He has like the... What did you call the shoulder things?
Tabards.
It's like shit.
Tabards.
Yeah. So he's got the tabards, but he has one of them is metal. I guess it's edgy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And he designs his own Jedi belt that he wears kind of like it's a he wears it like it's a gun belt. So he has 2 crisscrossed. Like he's
wearing like lopsided as well, and there's like chains hanging off it.
Yeah, he's got some.
And he's actually from Kingdom Hearts.
No, he's more like. God, actually, I could see that.
Kingdom Belts.
Honestly, with the accuracy of that game, they probably would go for that. But he redesigns and he creates his own Jedi belt. Because he's never had, like, no one has ever been like, here is how you wear it.
Yeah, this is exactly what you do.
So, he was trained by Vader, and Vader doesn't have a belt because Vader is in his costume. So basically, they were just like, well, fucking, he's got to design his own. So he designs his cross belt, and it looks really cool. And he kind of looks like his costume ends up looking like kind of new agey, Wild West Jedi
I was gonna
thing.
say, like, cross belts, but they're like hanging low. That's such a cowboy thing.
Yeah, and so they like really lean in heavily as him being like this space cowboy thing.
He has spurs on his shoes.
Probably a jingle jangle. He rides a space horse.
Yeah.
Like they watched Firefly once and they were like, we can do that.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
The visuals are very, like, well done. And, like, the gameplay is super fun. And, like, because those 3 things are there, it's, like, it's exceptionally good.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like just gouging my soul out.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's a little more like DDR.
If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off? Where did that come from? You have to make a lot of shit up to make good art.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it. This was part 1 of our 2-part interview with Christian. Tune in next time to hear us talk about The Force Awakens, lightsabers, and magic crystals. If you love the show, why not donate to our Patreon? Just head to Patreon and search up dcm.works. Thanks for listening.